Hey guys, I hope you are doing well. UFC 283 in Brazil was crazy, and I wanted to do a quick review of the show. Before diving into the fight, I have some observations. 1. It is great to have fights back in Brazil. The crowd was passionate for their fighters. However, there were some not so great moments from the fans of Brazil. Sometimes their intensity can be a bit much, but you can't deny their energy. The second thing was the fighters from Brazil absolutely showed up and showed out. All these fights were absolute bangers, and the only 2 decision losses for Brazilian fighters were close, tough fights during the prelims. Unfortunately, the last 2 fights on the card didn't favor the Brazilians, but they had a great showing overall, except for the first fight on the card. Speaking of which, let's start with the first fight on the card, Marcos and Oliveira. Oliveira was making way too many exaggerated movements, from spinning back fists and turning his back to Marcos. Marcos was taking advantage, and props to him, he looked great. Next fight was way closer than people expected. Josian had the more impactful shots, but Zara was consistent the whole time. For a fighter coming off such a long layoff, she performed well. Excited to see what Josian does next, but she needs to add more to her game. Next fight was an ugly back and forth, in the best way possible. The hits were so loud every time they made impact. Split decision, but Dalby looked great. Terrence McKinney versus Ismail Bonfim. The Bonfim brothers looked like future contenders in their UFC debuts. Starting with Ismail, he made Terrence McKinney look like they weren't on the same level. He definitely has the best knockout of the year so far, even though it's only just begun. This next fight was close. Cody was able to be the more effective fighter. For everyone Lassiter landed, it felt like Cody landed too. Close fight, but Cody was the better guy on the night. Jailton Almeida versus Shamble was one-way traffic. Almeida looks like a future champ. Shamble wasn't a fighter in his prime, but Almeida made it look easy. Get him a fight soon and make him a star. Another Bonfim showcase for our next fight. The Bonfim fighting at welterweight looked even more impressive, which was crazy considering how well his brother performed earlier. He had such a slick submission. These guys are going to be a problem. This next fight, the veteran proved to be too much to handle. The fight was interesting, but Moises gets the sub. I was expecting that, and he delivered. I love the Patty call out at the end. Gregory Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferreira. Oh man, Hope knocked out RoboCop. That sounds like an awesome movie premise. Bruno can cause a whole lot of issues if he is showing up like that on just 8 days' notice. Looking forward to his next matchup. This next one was rough. I just want to show all my respect to Shogun, but I'm glad that was his last fight. The crowd was not happy with the result, and I can't say I really blame them. Later in the night though, they got a lot worse. Paul Craig versus Johnny Walker was just bonkers. Johnny Walker with a Tom Lee-esque knockout of Paul. That's when a BJJ guy ends up on the wrong side of a leg lock. But if Walker is able to string another win or 2, he could potentially be fighting for a belt, which is crazy to think about. This next fight was a masterclass in 2 things. Jessica put on a clinic in striking, takedown defense, and all-around mixed martial arts. She looked like a top 5 female fighter in any weight class. For Lauren Murphy, God, she is tough. Maybe too tough for her own good. The referee in her corner did her no justice and allowed her to continue to fight for no good reason. I hope Lauren Murphy changes things up for her next fight. The next fight on the card was total domination. Gilbert Burns showed us there really are levels to this game. Neil is tough, but he can't beat a certain tier of guys. Lately, Burns has been showing off his striking, but this was a textbook showing of how to grapple in all aspects. The co-main was exciting and ended in chaos. Figgy just didn't look like he was able to keep up with Brandon. Brandon was always one step ahead of him and deserved the belt. The fans booing Brandon after he won the fight, that makes sense. The throwing of items and liquid on him was not cool, and I hope this doesn't happen again in the future. Now for the main event. Hill versus Glover. Both guys have that dog in them. Glover was never truly out of the fight, though he was losing a majority of it. And man, Hill looked excellent out there. His ability to match Glover's grappling and the incredible striking he showed after a short fight camp was awesome. Those kicks to the body and head he threw were absolutely gut-wrenching. I was upset most of the crowd left for the post-fight. We got a great genuine moment of emotion from Hill. We also got to say goodbye to Glover. He's given a lot to the sport, and I wish him the best in retirement. I think this post says all you need to know about Glover and why people like him so much. He's a great guy and a great fighter. Finally, let's look at our picks and man the AI. Did not have a good night. Only 6 of the money line results went the way we wanted, and only 3 out of 15 prop bets hit. Hopefully we can save this information and have the AI learn from it and use it in future bouts. But those are my thoughts on UFC 283. I would love to hear your thoughts below. Like and subscribe and comment below. I hope you have a great day.